and welcome to 9 to 42, the podcast from the team at the Guitar Show UK. Join us for interviews, updates and chat with artists, influencers and those that manufacture the gear that we love. Hello and welcome to 9 to 42, which is the podcast from the guys at the Guitar Show, the Bass Show.
Good.
Still not right, Jace. It's still not right.
I mean, I'm quite happy for you to say the Guitar Show and the Bass Show, I suppose, because it works better, probably.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Should we do it again? Yeah, let's do it again. I'll keep it both in. People can actually let us know which they prefer. Hello and welcome to 9 to 42, which is the podcast from the guys at the Guitar Show and the Bass Show. Is that better?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's better. We'll stick with that then, shall we? How are you, mate?
I'm good. I've had a really good week so far. Obviously did the podcast on Monday that you weren't in.
Yes, I couldn't make it.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And here we are again.
And this is these two have been the first ones we've done since we actually went live, because there's been 3 gone out so far now, haven't there? We haven't done one of these together since we started pushing them out.
No.
So the first 3. So if this is the first one you're picking up on from this series, we already have a previous 3. So Daisy Pepper's gone out.
Yeah.
Nick Beggs has gone out.
And Ben Crow, Crimson Guitars.
Crimson Guitars, yeah, okay. But saying that, by the time you listen, that was all wrong, because by the time you listen to it, there'll be another 3 gone out. Do you know what? Ignore all that, folks. Ignore all that. But as it stands for us today, 3 have gone out so far. Right, we have blues guitarist, singer-songwriter Connor Selby with us, who's probably now wondering what the hell he's let himself in for. Connor, how's your afternoon going?
It's going good, thank you. Yeah, we're good.
So, Connor, you've played the Guitar Show, haven't you?
Yeah, I think it was maybe 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago. I can't quite remember, but
It was 3 years ago, because it was at the old venue, not the new venue.
yes.
So I should thank Martin, who's the drummer in your live band. We worked together at BIM, and I went out for a curry with him a couple of weeks ago, and he was just asking how the podcast was going, and we talked about Connor, and we talked about Dennis Stratton, that Martin also plays with, the original guitarist of Iron Maiden. And then Martin sent me a text and went, "Yeah, both of them are fine, mate. Just get in touch and it'll be all sorted." So thank you, Martin.
Yeah, I'm notoriously bad at replying to emails and things, so he had to give me a reminder to get in touch with you. But I'm glad he did.
Go on, I'll ask this, because I can ask you both, actually. How did that first Guitar Show thing come about, then?
Yeah, just through magic, yeah.
Well, I was in the kitchen at the university having lunch with Martin, and he just said, "Oh, I'm playing with Connor. You should check him out." And so I sort of like the following day I listened on Spotify, and I was like, "Yeah, this is really good." And I spoke to him, and then he sorted it all out. I mean, it seems like Martin plays with pretty much everyone.
Yeah, he's very, very busy, isn't he? Yeah, he gets around.
He's not on the new album, is he? He's just in the tour.
No, he's not. Yeah. And
I did read that you just use session musicians for the new album.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, obviously, Magic being as busy as he is, and I think we did the gig at the Guitar Show with Stevie Watts, who's been playing with me for a long time as well, and he's notoriously extremely busy. He plays with a million different bands. Everyone's really busy doing their own thing. So the way it kind of works for me is I just try and find whoever's available. I've got a sort of roster of musicians that I call on. And yeah, obviously, as you say, the albums don't have the same band on. I opted to use a studio band, slightly different, but the same kind of rhythm section generally on both the last albums. And that's not for any particular reason. It's just because, I've sort of developed a working relationship with a guy called Stefan Rettenbacher, who's a Austrian bass player, and he produced both the albums as well. And he does a lot of work at a studio in Guildford called Masterlink, and he has a sort of studio band there. And because he produced both the albums and played on the albums, we did it with his studio band, basically.
I was going to ask, I really liked your first album. I think the second album is fantastic. I've been listening
thank you.
week. I just wondered what the process was because you play guitar. I don't know if you play any other instruments,
No, not really, no.
but like the arrangements are amazing on it. Is that you in the studio going, it needs to go back here, or is someone coming in and writing that on top?
Yeah, that's Stefan, who I just mentioned. He wrote all the arrangements, with some direction from me, but generally, yeah, it was all him. I can't really take credit for that. Uh, yeah, he's a genius in that way, and the reason why we've developed such a close working relationship is because he really understands where I'm coming from musically and all the different reference points and stuff. And in fact, the reason why I met Magic in the first place is through him because I did the original album, and and then um, and then I was later introduced to Martin and Stevie and Sonny Winslow, who's been my bass player for the last 4 years, my main bass player. And yeah, it was through a guy called Mark Eade. I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but that's how I originally um, got introduced to Stefan. And he manages an artist called Joe Harmon, who Martin has also played with for 10, 15 years at this point. So yeah, that's kind of how it all came about.
The difference, forgive me, you're probably going to go, oh, what's he talking about? But actually, the first album seems sort of like quite Clapton-esque,
Hmm.
but the second album seems you seem to have delved more into the soul side of it than the blues side of it. Would,
Yeah, yeah.
so was that like a conscious decision while you were writing the album, or was it just kind of what fell out of you at the time?
Yeah, probably more the latter, really. Yeah, I find it hard to kind of sit down and write a song with a specific kind of criteria, you know. It tends to be quite random and yeah, whatever comes out comes out. I mean, I think, on the previous album I was trying to do some soulful stuff as well, and there's some touches of kind of more sort of Van Morrison-esque singer-songwriter type stuff. Um, but yeah, I kind of developed on that a bit on this record, I think. And there's a couple of songs that are more sort of folky, just acoustic based. Um, and they're songs that I wrote many years ago, actually, that I've had for a long time, that I never really knew what to do with. But yeah, I thought now was the time to put them on this new album. So yeah, like, it's kind of just, I think both the albums are just exploring different elements and different facets of all the different styles that I love and that have influenced me, really. And they all come out in different ways.
One of the things that I noticed, and I'm kind of echoing Jace here a little bit, but I mean, I was blown away sonically. I mean, arrangements absolutely. The arrangements are really, really, well done. But also sonically, I was blown away as well.
Oh,
And
thank you.
the thing that I've listened to a lot of albums, where it's been first album or second album, and you've listened to it and thought and gone, okay, the song's quite nice, but it just doesn't sound like a mainstream release.
Yeah,
It sounds like somewhere in between, a real decent commercial studio and kind of a demo, and yet yours just scream this incredible sound that comes out that you think that if that had been a Jamie Cullum album or a Van Morrison album or whatever, you would think that's how you'd expect it to sound, because you'd be like, well, there's no budget requirement here. He's just going wherever he wants, using whoever he wants. But I'm sure you didn't start the project with a no budget, issue. You'll have started it with obviously having to deliver it for amounts of cash, I'm guessing. I mean, how do you get that to come about? Is that the genius of the production? Is that because you're working so tightly together?
yeah. I think it's just a testament to the studio and James Welch, who is the engineer who runs the studio and did all the mixing and everything, and Stefan as well, and just the quality of the musicians as well that are on the record. Everything. I'm extremely lucky to be working with those guys, and I mean the original album was done in 2020, just as all the COVID stuff was going on. And it was really quite lucky for me because due to all the lockdowns and the fact that musicians were all struggling for work, they had a lot of discounts and stuff on everything. And I'd done a crowdfunder to pay for that album. So that's basically how I did it. And if it was happening now, there's no way I would have been able to have afforded that album. I mean, it wasn't. It was cheap, really cheap for what it was, to be honest, like ridiculously cheap. And we did it over 3 days. and then that album is the one that got me my record deal with Mascot, and then this album we had a bit more budget and a bit more time, but it was still done in very much a similar way, over 2.5 days, 3 days, and then we did some overdubs after. But yeah, we went into it with a kind of clearer idea of what we wanted, and obviously we had the other album as a reference point, and Stefan and I had spent quite a lot of time doing pre-production and working through how we wanted the songs to sound, musically as well as just sonically. And yeah, as I say, it's just a testament to just the quality of the musicianship on the album, and yeah, I'm really really pleased with how it came out. I'm glad you picked up on that too. Thank you.
You did it in 3.5 days.
I was just about to say this.
Yeah, well, the main tracking was 2.5 days. Yeah, I think maybe 3 days. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, are you doing sort of like, I suppose this is the joy of hiring pro musicians, but like you're running through each song 3 times or whatever, and that's the take, and
Pretty much. Yeah.
that's I feel like such a slack.
I'm the same as you. I don't think the two of us have ever been lost for a comment before at the same time. But it just sounds like a record that if you'd said to me we've been working on this record 18 months, 2 years, I'd have believed you. I actually would have believed you.
Well, I mean, I was in the sense that I was writing the songs and crafting the songs and stuff. But yeah,
No, but I meant the recording process.
yeah,
I said
yeah,
if you'd been
yeah.
working on it, so if you'd had a studio at your disposal and you'd spent a year in the studio and said, you know what, I can't believe we got the chance to do this, or I don't know, it's been a labour of love, that record, I would have absolutely believed you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, it was very very fast paced. But to be honest, I mean that approach works for me. I'm not sure I'd like the option of having a year to work on an album. I think I would just overthink and obsess over every tiny detail, and it would never get finished. I mean, I know a lot of amazing songwriters and artists who have home studios and stuff, and they never end up putting anything out because they just sit there whittling over it for months and months and months, and then by the time they get to a point where they're happy with it, they want to do it in a different direction. They get bored or whatever. So, I mean, I think I would very much be like that too. So, the fact that it
But
was done the way it was worked for me, I think.
but the other bit then, because I'm going to spend the rest of this podcast trying to work out how this even makes any kind of sense with what you've said so far. Is you've also then said this was a session band and it's not my touring band, because if you'd said to me I've been playing with these guys for 10 years, right, and clearly you're not old enough to have been playing with anybody for 10 years, but if you'd said I've been playing with these guys for 10 years, then I would have gone, well, that kind of makes sense because you're all together every night, so you know each other's moves, you know where you are, you know where to leave space for each other, all that kind of stuff. But it's not even that it's the band that, because it was the space that I noticed. I noticed how everything fit together so beautifully. Everybody made space for everybody else sonically, but both in terms of the playing and also in terms of the like the sonics, in terms of the frequency bands. So everybody was really mindful of where everything else went, and that is, that's something that it hits me all the time when that's right, because actually it's more often than not, it's wrong. More often than not, it's a muddle, and it was none of those
Yeah.
things. So that's the bit I can't get. Jace, please help me out here because I can't get my head around this now. It doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
I mean, for me, I was going to ask you what the touch points were. I mean, I know when I've worked with producers in the past, they kind of go, "Well, what kind of albums are you listening to that kind of give the sound you're looking for?" I mean, I always give Exile on Main Street, and they always go, "That's a horrible production," and I go, "Yeah, but yeah." One guy said it sounds like Mick Jagger singing through a sock throughout the entire album, and I'm like, "Yeah, but I really like it." Did you said you were doing pre-production. Did you have those conversations? Did you slap down a load of albums and go, "This is the sort of sound I'm after"?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you mentioned Clapton before, and Ray Charles. Those are the two kind of big touchstones, I guess, to use that word. In terms of, everything I do is kind of filtered through those two artists. I mean, they're my main kind of biggest inspirations. But in terms of like the sonics of the album, I think Ray LaMontagne was a big reference.
Oh, yeah.
Nora Jones, you know,
Yes. Yeah, I can really hear that.
those kind of albums. Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad you've picked up on this, to be honest, because that was something that I really was striving for. I wanted an album that sounded professional, that you know, um, sounded like it could hold up. Because I agree with you in the sense that there's so many great records being made now, but a lot of people either don't have the means or don't have the skills to kind of make it sound really, really good.
I've been at coffee this morning with a friend of mine, um, who's in a band, and we were having a conversation. He's in a proper metal band, way too metal for me.
Mm.
Um, but like we were talking about production, and there was this kind of a thing in the sort of like hard rock thing where they all sound sonically exactly the same. It's like they've walked into a studio and gone, "Here's the preset for that genre." They just hit it, and like it comes a point where you can't actually tell the difference between any of the artists. They've all got the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same in the blues world for sure, and the soul, blues adjacent soul world. I think everyone's going for that kind of retro sound, like a kind of almost lo-fi sound. And to me, unless you do it really, really well, it sounds very homogeneous and it just doesn't sound great, really. Oftentimes, it sounds like it was recorded in a bath because they put too much reverb on it, and you get that kind of scratchy sort of, I don't know how to describe it, oversaturated vocal
Yeah.
to the point where it's starts to lose its character a bit. And that's yeah, that for the last sort of ten years it seems that's kind of been the go-to sound. But yeah, I mean, I guess, as I say, I can't really take credit for this. It's just a testament to all the great people that I was working with and that they were able to help me facilitate this. But yeah, I just wanted an album that sounded grown up, that sounded like in 10, 15 years, 20 years, it's not going to age. It's just got a very pure, natural sound that reflects how it sounded in the room at the time, with no gimmicks or effects or, just something that's going to stand up, basically.
So if it's not too rude, how old are you?
28 as of yesterday.
Oh,
Oh, happy birthday.
happy birthday.
Thanks. Yeah, there's a lot of false information about my age. People still saying I'm 26 and stuff, but I'm 28 to clear that up.
I'd happily have somebody putting it out there that I was 2 years younger than I was,
Me too.
just to clear that up.
I was 26 when I made the album, I guess, so that kind of makes sense. But we did it last June, so
Oh, so why have you sat on it for so long then? Or why has the record company sat on it for so long?
don't know, just things got in the way, really. Just record companies and all that jazz. It wasn't up to me, but yeah.
I suppose I'm assuming it's come out on vinyl. I'm assuming that you got a 6 month wait for vinyl production, haven't you? After you've turned it in, at the very least at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that I'm lucky that I work with a label. Mascot are quite they're quite a big label, I guess, in the blues and rock world. So they're able to kind of jump that a bit and work things a bit faster. But yeah, I've got the vinyl with me now, and it really sounds phenomenal. I'm really pleased with how it turned out.
Awesome. So when did it come out? Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, the 29th of August.
Right. So what's the plan? Are you off on tour to promote it?
Yeah, I've got a big tour of the UK starting on the 17th of September through to the end of the month, basically. And I've got some shows in Europe coming up after that. I'm doing a little run in France and a couple of things in Germany and the Netherlands and around.
I've just been looking at your tour dates actually, and I was looking before we came on, and which took me to. So I was thinking, oh, I wonder where you are close to me, and I live in Home Firth in West Yorkshire, which always means it's either kind of Leeds, Sheffield, or Manchester. So I saw your Manchester date come up. I thought, oh, where are you going in Manchester? And you did the Halle St Peters, which I'd never heard of, which I've just had a look at. That's an amazing looking venue.
Yeah, yeah, it looks. I mean, I've never been there myself, but yeah, it looks great.
Did somebody just book the block for you and tell you that's, or did you have much involvement with where you? Because a lot of those venues I didn't recognise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working with an agent, Neil O'Brien Entertainment, and Neil himself and Ross Leslie, who works there as well. But yeah, we wanted with this tour, with some of the venues, we wanted to kind of go off the beaten track a bit because I've been playing the blues circuit quite a lot for the last sort of 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years, and yeah, I wanted to try and break away from that and play a few places that were a bit not classier necessarily, but a bit more upmarket, to kind of reflect the music and just to generally try and move more in that direction. I mean, it's always difficult trying to transition from one scene to another, but yeah, that was kind of the thought process behind some of the venues on this tour.
I just think it's really harsh to class you as a blues artist. There are elements of blues, but there's so much more.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the blues is one of those words that has a lot of different meanings for a lot of different people, and the way I kind of interpret it is that the blues to me is like just all roots, all American roots music.
Hmm.
That's kind of the foundation of all that, and you know, and that's why some of the stuff on my albums isn't necessarily straight blues, but it all has that kind of blues inflection or that blues feeling. And blues can be in a jazz context or soul or funk or country and western even, all these kind of American styles. And I love them all and I listen to them all, and that's kind of the basis for all the stuff that I do and all my songs. They're all kind of coming from that place. So that's how I see myself in terms of the blues. But yeah, the blues scene is a very different thing. I mean, it's a great scene and we're very lucky to have it. And the fact that there's so many very passionate people who basically put on gigs out of the kindness of their hearts a lot of the time, don't necessarily make any money from it. They just do it because they love music and they want to celebrate music and they want to give people like me a chance to perform. And I think it's quite unique in that sense. Like I think if you're coming from a different style, there isn't such a strong grassroots scene. Maybe I'm wrong in thinking that, but it seems like, talking to other people and seeing what other people are doing. And a lot of people who kind of aren't even necessarily blues artists, kind of using the blues scene as a way to get a fan base and then kind of going off in a different direction. Um, but yeah, what was I saying? What was my point? But yeah, basically we're very lucky to have that scene and I'm very, very grateful to have been a part of it. But yeah, I feel like because my music does touch on a lot of different places and I could maybe try and move in a few different directions. I'd like to try at least try and do that, without turning my back on the blues because I think fundamentally I always see myself as a blues artist and a blues guitar player. That's kind of the core of what I do and who I am. But yeah, I like other things too. So
Trying to move out of the sort of like traditional blues scene in the UK, new venues and so on. Now, don't take this the wrong way, but I was looking at a load of Google images of you, and like you've got way snappier as a dresser over the last sort of like the more modern pictures.
yeah,
Is that just a process of growing up, or is there someone at the label sort of like helping you stylistically?
not really. I mean, they're encouraging me to make more of an effort, I suppose. But in terms of the clothes, no one's dressing me or anything. I'm just a fan of like old school stuff and retro stuff, and that kind of informed the album cover and all the clothes I wore on the shoot for that. And yeah, it's just making an effort really, trying to look a bit nicer, not just wearing t-shirt and jeans and stuff. But
Yeah, yeah, it really works. And I suppose that sort of ties in because this is a guitar podcast. The ES-125,
yeah,
which I so wanted one of those. I ended up buying an ES-120, because
okay.
125, and I kind of like it because people, when I gig it, people go, "What is that?" And it's just, yeah, it's the real bottom of the range, sort of like junior jazz guitar. I don't play jazz at all.
Not
Um,
me either, but
but I love the ES-125, and I think it. Do you gig it, or is it just a recording tool?
I do gig it, yeah, and I've used it on all the kind of support slots that I've done because a lot of those have been either solo or with another guitar player. So I've taken it, all across the country, and I love it. It's an incredible guitar, and like you say, it's essentially a student guitar, right?
Yeah.
And the fact mine's a 1955, so 70 years old this year, and it still holds up, still sounds amazing. Sounds better than a lot of my other guitars, frankly, and plays amazing, looks amazing. It's just an incredible, incredible thing.
What I love about mine's a, um, I think mine's a 56, and it just sounds old. I don't know how to describe it. It just doesn't sound like a modern guitar at all.
Yeah, I mean the pickup in mine is so like hot but sensitive at the same time. I mean it's only got the one knob, right? Well, the volume and the tone knob, but you basically got one sound, and it's just a question of how loud the pickup's turned up. But it's so dynamic and so nuanced, you know. And when you turn it up, it really screams. It's just amazing, you know. After 70 years, they're still doing that. But yeah, those old guitars were just built differently, weren't they?
Yeah, just completely. My daughter had gone to university in Texas on an exchange program,
Oh wow,
and I walked into this guitar shop, and they got two of them hanging up.
really?
I'd only ever seen pictures of them, never actually got to play one. And I was just like, "Can I have a go?" And they were like, "Yeah." And that basically it came home with me. There was no chance I was going to leave it.
When I got mine on Gumtree from a guy in Gloucester,
I mean, Gloucester's not close to Essex at all, is
no,
it?
it was a long, long journey, but it was worth it. And yeah, he was probably in his 70s or something, and he'd injured his hand and he couldn't play anymore, so he was selling all his guitars. And I mean, I got it for a pretty good deal. I mean, they've, you know, all guitars have exploded in price recently, have they? This was maybe 3 years ago I got it, and I got it for a pretty good price. And you know, he said to me, "You're going to flip it," and I said, "No, I'm not gonna flip it. I'm going to play it and I'll use it," and I have done so. And it's on the album, and yeah, as I said, I've played it on my some of my big support tours that I've done. So it's seen some pretty nice venues.
Mine hasn't. Seen some pretty shitty Birmingham venues, but that's okay.
Listening to you, Jay, there, just saying about, oh, it's a long way to Gloucester, and I glanced at your tour list and thought, well, it's not that far because he's in St Ives tomorrow night. But of course, I got the wrong St Ives, didn't I?
Yeah, it's Cambridge,
Yeah,
not
you've got up the
Cornwall.
A1, aren't you?
Yeah, not too far, luckily.
No, because I was just about to say, what the hell are you doing here, sat here at 2 o'clock? If you're playing at the bottom of Cornwall tomorrow night,
I have got a gig in Penzance late in October, I think.
Wow.
that's a way.
Yeah,
I'd be doing that one on the train.
Coming to the tour, then, and we've touched on it a little bit, but coming back to it, how do you make the transition from? Because I'm assuming you've been playing quite a lot from the new album.
yeah.
How are you going to make that transition? You know, is it shaping up well with the live band? I mean, clearly you've been working with the live band quite a while. Did you work? Have you worked? Do you work some of these songs up with the live band before you go in the studio? And is it then just a case of the studio band getting to know them, or are the live band getting them kind of now?
Yeah, I mean, some of them have been playing for quite a while, to be fair. Because as I say, the album was done in June of last year, and some of the songs were written quite a bit before that. So, I mean, the title track, we've been playing that for probably a year and a half, maybe nearly 2 years. So I've been doing that for a while. I mean, obviously it's evolved, and all the songs have evolved as we've been doing them, and they started off as one thing, and then you know every musician interprets things differently. So when we went to the studio and did all that stuff, we spent a lot of time really. Well, Stefan and I spent a lot of time working on the arrangements and the details and things, and putting a little flavors and things to make it a bit nicer. But yeah, some of the songs I've been doing for a while. Some of the acoustic songs I've only just started doing recently, and it's been interesting to see how they're being received. People really seem to be enjoying them, and it's nice for me to kind of add that dynamic to the set and do a kind of an acoustic bit because I wasn't really doing that before.
So are you doing like electric stopping solo acoustic bit and then the band come back sort of thing?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
I always like that sort of, I mean, the Stones have been doing it for like 30 years, but I just really like that sort of like change of pace in the middle.
yeah, and Clapton as well.
Yeah, and I suppose Oasis are doing it currently. But Noel does his, half the world like that in the middle.
Yeah,
I think because like, if you get like an hour and a half, 2 hours of like full on, it just ends up sounding like one thing. But you got to,
yes,
and I suppose you've gone from support to headline, so you start having to sort of like rework the set into an extended journey sort of thing. Right?
yeah. I mean, the way I write songs in general, anyways, I try and cover a lot of different moods and styles and stuff. So you know, there's some songs that are really upbeat, some songs that are less so. lots of ballads and lots of different grooves and stuff. So I try and keep things fresh that way rather than just playing like, heavy blues rock riffs for like 2 hours or whatever. But yeah, it is nice to have a different dynamic and to change things up and keep it interesting for people because yeah, otherwise it's, if you if you don't really think about that sort of thing, then it can get a bit boring for people.
Yeah. Did you submit more songs to the label? Did they choose like what's on the album? Had you got like 15 and you put out 10 or
No, I mean we did a couple extras, but the label were pretty hands off to be fair. I mean I sent them demos and stuff, everything before, but they didn't really interfere, I kind of just did the record and gave it to them, so here it is, kind of thing. And I mean that was partly there was some kind of disagreements about a few things, but yeah, the record basically came out unchanged. There was one song that was going to go on the album. It just didn't because of the limitations of a vinyl record. And frankly, I don't think it needed to be on there anyway. So I think that was the right call. But yeah, the album is pretty much my unfiltered vision. Nothing was changed or messed with.
Yeah, I'm so delighted. Well, the as much as I like vinyl because of my age, I grew up with vinyl. The best thing is it stopped artists trying to fill the 74-minute space available on a CD with 10 great tracks and then six should have been B-sides, probably shouldn't even have been a B-side that make that certainly by the time you get to sort of like the end of the 2000s, like you're just like, God, this album would be so much better if it was half as long.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
we come back to vinyl, we're kind of getting the 10 or 11 tracks that actually are the best 10 or 11 tracks.
yeah. I mean, my kind of general philosophy in life is that having limitations is generally a good thing with anything. Like we were talking about the recording before, having the limitation of having to do it in 3 days focused me, and having a deadline is a great motivator for me. And yeah, having a certain amount of space for the songs makes you really choose carefully about what you're going to put on it. And yeah, I mean that's really important for me.
Because I was reading that you're talking of limitations, your kind of like rig is just a guitar and amp. There's not huge pedal boards or anything around.
Yeah, I mean I mean I use a Lazy J amp and I have a Lazy J cruiser pedal that I use every now and then and a tuner. And I've started using a Flint Strymon as well for some tremolo. Um, but yeah, that's it basically. Yeah, and I only use one guitar for the whole show, other than the acoustic, which I've started using recently. But yeah, just play a Les Paul for the whole show mainly.
Given that I also play a Les Paul into a Lazy J most of the time,
Oh, really?
how on earth do you keep the bloody thing in tune for that long?
It's not too bad at staying in tune. I mean, I hate tuning on a gig. To be honest, I hate it. I hate the awkwardness of it. I
Yeah.
haven't I haven't learned how to deal with that situation yet.
I
So
haven't learned how to talk and tune at the same time.
no, I
So
can't do that.
uh,
I try and get through as much of the show as I can without having to tune. But obviously, if it gets to a point where you have to, then I just do it as quickly as I can. But generally, I don't really struggle with that too badly. Obviously, if it's hot weather and you're outside and stuff, and that can affect the tuning. But for the most part, it's okay.
Didn't BB King change his string while he was playing?
did
Yeah,
yeah.
that's that famous clip. Yeah, he just has the guitar, then he's just singing. He's tuning as he's playing. Yeah,
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, he was a master showman.
I'm
I'm nothing like
nowhere near that level.
that.
I'm looking at the two of you a bit disappointed now. You more than obviously Connor, Jace, because I'm incredibly impressed with everything Connor's achieved. So I'm clearly going to look at you the worst of the three. But the fact that neither of you can change a string while you're singing is now a bit of a disappointment to me.
I mean, I'm lucky in that I very rarely break strings. It happens like once a year, maybe, or twice a year. I do bring another guitar to the gig just in case, but I very, very rarely have to use it.
I went to a gig last night, a place in Birmingham called the Glee Club. Don't know if you've heard it.
Mm,
Mainly a comedy club. And I went to see Luke Morley from Thunder play. He's doing like his solo album
mm.
thing. And I was with a friend. I went, I played here about 15 years ago. And I'd got a really nice Taylor acoustic. And I'd said at the very last minute, I need a backup guitar. I'd only got one acoustic. I need a backup guitar. And my mate lent me this, and I'm sorry, Yamaha, this APX bag of shit. Right. But it had got a pickup in it, which is what I needed. And I did the gig and I said hello and we played the first song and I broke a string and I never break strings. I haven't broken a string for 10 years. First song, I had to finish the gig with this horrible, boxy, cheap, nasty acoustic for like 95% of the set. And while my
Oh,
tailor sat because I'm not good enough or popular enough to have a guitar tech to tune, restring
yeah.
sort of thing. So, yeah.
I mean, the thing is with BB King, like he had the guitar just off to one side for a lot of the time, right? When he
Yeah.
was singing. So you can get away with that, but if you have to play the guitar constantly, then it's a bit harder to get away with tuning it, restringing it and tuning it up and everything.
So just checking now, we've finished with BB King had it easy. Is that how we're finishing this off?
But when it
Just
comes to changing strings
yes, he
mid-gig,
did.
You ever seen BB King live? I mean, I know you can't now, but had you ever seen him live?
yeah, I saw him. I saw him once. Yeah,
I saw him twice. So the last two tours he did of the UK that he did, and it was I've had this like only a couple of times where you feel like you're stood in the presence of utter greatness.
yeah,
He sat for most of the gig, but it was just incredible. He filled this arena with his voice. It was just like I've only had that. I saw Chuck Berry three times, and Chuck was crap every single time. But at the same time, it was like, oh my God, that's Chuck Berry. You know,
yeah. Just so much aura, right?
yeah,
Incredible. Yeah, I mean, when BB died, that was like losing a family member. I remember just being distraught. I mean, it's coming up to what would have been his 100th birthday, I think, in a few days, or the 16th. So that's just unbelievable, isn't it, to think about that? But
With blues, I don't know why it is with blues. No idea why it is with blues. But what tends to often get overlooked is it tends to be a guitar first thing,
mm,
right? Because you don't get very many blues singers that don't play, or you seem to get a lot of blues singers that do play. Let's
yeah,
put it that way around. And then you tend to define those artists by their playing. You know,
yeah,
either the guitar they play or the style they play, whatever it is. And what gets lost in the mix of that is how great they are as vocalists.
yeah,
You know, Robert Cray's a great vocalist. B.B. King was an incredible vocalist. Eric Clapton's a really good vocalist.
absolutely, yeah.
And it's a shame that it's the one genre where somehow that gets a little bit missed.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's kind of a product of the like the British blues boom and then how it moved into rock, classic rock and all that stuff. Because, the blues has been around really since the beginning or the tail end of the 20th century or 19th century, I mean, into the 20th century. And it wasn't guitar dominated at all really until like the 30s and 40s, and when we think about blues as man's music, but it wasn't. The original blues stars in the 20s, the people who sold the most records, and frankly, they outsold, relatively speaking, they outsold everyone that came after for a long time. Were all women, people like Bessie Smith and Ma Rainey and all these people. And then it wasn't until later that the blues kind of became this guitar-centric, male-centric thing. And obviously, when you talk about people like B.B. King and Freddie King and Albert King and all these guys, they were all coming from the gospel tradition. That's why they could sing, and that's what informed the way they sang and the way they played. It was all coming from gospel and soul music, and people like Ray Charles. The reason why I love him is because he kind of bridged all these different styles of American music. He basically invented soul music. He had the whole gospel thing. He sang the blues better than anyone else, in my opinion. He did jazz, country, and western. And to me, all these genres are related, and they all kind of play a part in the blues and the musical landscape and stuff. And yeah, I think a lot of that is lost today on people because since Clapton and the Stones and all these bands, as much as I love them, they definitely changed the way that people think about the blues. And someone like Robert Johnson, the whole kind of mythology surrounding Robert Johnson. I was recently reading a really good book by a guy called Elijah Ward. It's called, what was it called? I can't remember.
I've got the book.
It's about the invention of Robert Johnson and
Yeah.
the whole myth around him and how that was essentially like a product of the blues boom in America, like the folk blues boom in the early 60s. And of course, Robert Johnson, that album didn't come out until 61 or whatever, The King of the Delta Blues. And it was put out by John Hammond, who was the
Mm.
guy who discovered Bob Dylan and Billie Holiday and all these people. And that really changed the way that people perceive the blues and the whole kind of aura around it and mythology around it. And that didn't really exist before, Blues musicians were essentially entertainers, more first and foremost. They just played what they needed to play to get by and to earn money, and they could play any number of different styles. They just had to reproduce what people wanted to hear in clubs and bars and juke joints and things. And yeah, and I mean, obviously over time everything evolves, everything changes, but yeah, I think that the whole kind of guitar centric model of the blues is a relatively recent invention, I guess.
Howling Wolf. I know he played guitar, but he was known for his voice
Yeah,
more.
Muddy Waters as well. I mean, he always had a guitar on him, but he couldn't really play that. He could do a couple of things on it, but it's the voice really, and just the vibe. The band and the songs, and that's all what contributed to the music. And yeah, there's a tendency now just to focus on the guitar playing, which yeah, I mean, I love blues guitarists and I love people like Joe Bonamassa and all the kind of modern people who are doing it, but yeah, blues is about groove and feeling mainly.
I love, is it Hubert Sumlin makes a mistake on is it Smokestack Lightning? And
Yeah.
he said, he was being interviewed and he said, I put a mistake in every record, it just makes it human. And
Yeah.
I'm going to use that excuse forever and a day now when I'm playing.
Yeah, me too.
He only puts one in, Jace. He only puts one in this.
Well, one a verse, one a chorus, that's fine, right?
All right, okay. Right, okay. 5 a song then. Times 10. So I take it you're excited and looking forward to getting out on this tour because that's the rest of the year for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of always gigging and doing random bits and pieces, but yeah, this block in September is the main tour to promote the album.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to hopefully try and get across to Manchester.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. Well, let me know. I'll put you on the guest list.
Yes, no, I'm quite really excited about it. And like Jace, I was blown away by the record. I apologise now because I haven't listened to the first one, so I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the first one. I put the new one on. I've not taken it off.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
You know the 4 bonus tracks on the reissued first album?
Yeah, yeah.
Are they written in between albums 1 and 2? Because they appear to be like a really good stepping stone between the.
Yeah, a couple of them were. One of them was an outtake from the first album. That was Love Letter to the Blues. And then two of the songs I wrote, I Shouldn't Care and The Deep End. And then there's a Ray Charles cover.
Yeah.
But those three were all recorded together. Yeah, about a year. When were they done? 2021, I think.
Yeah, you can definitely see. I mean, it sounds really bad, like a progression, but that
Yeah.
doesn't think there's anything wrong with the first album. We just sort of like you just seem more comfortable in your own skin, which
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Well, I will check that out. I will make that my thing to do at some point this afternoon is to put the first one on and listen to the extras as well.
Brilliant. Well, I hope you enjoy them.
Thank you, Connor. It's been great chatting. Thank you for finding the time.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'm asking you both this now. Are the plans for Connor to reappear at the guitar show at some point? Have we asked him back?
I haven't, but I'd love to at some point if you're up for it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
The new venue is a lot nicer and bigger.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to. I really would.
Cool.
Well,
All right.
here's hoping we might see you in March at the guitar show as well. With a little bit of a look. Good luck with everything you've got going on. Good luck with the tour. I hope you have a great time. And actually, one quite last question on the tour before we go. France, you're doing UK. There's an odd German date, an odd Dutch date, but quite a few in France. Have you got a particular French following?
Uh, Not necessarily, but my girlfriend's French and her parents actually run a music venue. So they've been helping me to put that together.
Perfect.
But I love it in France.
The old nepotism blues. Can't fault it.
On that point.
Connor, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully see you soon. Hopefully see you at Manchester when you get around there on the tour.
Thanks a lot. Take care, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to 9 to 42, the podcast from the team at the Guitar Show UK. If you've enjoyed the show, then please remember to hit the subscribe button and share with other like-minded souls. For more information about 9 to 42, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram at the Guitar Show UK. This has been an A Short Stories production.